Well, I'm Peter Doddema. I'm the priest here at the Church of the Ascension in Frankfort. And today I want to talk a little bit about Holy Week, that week that's right before Easter, where Christians celebrate some historic stuff. We mark that journey from Palm Sunday, when Jesus entered Jerusalem 2,000 years ago and was acclaimed as the King. People were excited, people were shouting and just on the edge of their seats, to Good Friday, where the crowds and the situation had turned on Jesus, and he was actually arrested, tried, and crucified. And then Easter Sunday, where he's raised from the dead. So Holy Week is that whole week of just intense emotional celebration that happens before Easter. And I'll talk more about Easter in an upcoming video. Easter is the earliest holy day that the church celebrated. It's the reason that there is a church, because Jesus rose from the dead. But today what I want to do is just spotlight the different services that we're having during this week at the Church of the Ascension. So Holy Week kicks off with Palm Sunday. That's April 2nd this year. And we'll have our service at 10:30 here in the church and live streamed as well. We start outside the church. Like I said a moment ago, that's the day where we celebrate Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. The Bible paints a picture of people taking down palm branches from the trees and waving them and shouting, "Blessed and welcome is the King, Hosanna," that sort of thing. So we have a procession with palm branches into the church to celebrate that. And then we do the gospel reading then, in which we celebrate that whole week's worth of information from Jesus' triumphal entry through the events of the week, his crucifixion, and then his resurrection. We use Palm Sunday as both a time to celebrate and a time to look forward to what's coming over the next week. Monday and Tuesday of that week, we don't do anything in particular around here at the church. We have our normal 6:30 evening prayer on Facebook and 8 o'clock Compline service on Facebook, prayer service. We get to Wednesday, and Wednesday is Tenebrae. Tenebrae, that's a funny Latin word. It's the service of shadows. It's really beautiful and meaningful. We do that at about 7 o'clock on Wednesday evening here at the church. And the way that service works is that you walk into a darkened sanctuary, and there are just 2 sets of candles up front burning, and that's it. And there's a series of readings that's done. And at the end of every reading, and they're all themed around Holy Week and Easter, someone puts out one of the candles, and there's another reading and another candle is put out. And the idea is that we are going toward the crucifixion. And so the church gradually gets darker and darker and darker. And then at the end of the service, the last candle is extinguished. There's silence. And all of a sudden there's a loud noise and a single candle is brought out to represent Jesus' resurrection. So Tenebrae, that Wednesday service, walks us through Jesus' week in Jerusalem to his crucifixion, to the time in the tomb, and then the resurrection as well. So it's dramatic and beautiful as well. And if you haven't been to church for a while and you need something that's just going to get you in that holy spiritual place, I recommend coming to that service. It's very beautiful and moving. On Thursday of Holy Week, again at 7 p.m., that's April 6th, we have the Maundy Thursday service. Maundy Thursday, that's a funny word, but it comes from Latin too. The old Latin word for commandment, which is mandatum. So we have Maundy Thursday because our gospel reading for that day is Jesus saying to his followers, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another." And so it's a gorgeous, gorgeous service. There is foot washing. We do that once a year. And so that's the service where we celebrate Jesus and his time with his followers, having the Passover meal. He washed their feet, that sort of thing. And then overnight, April 6th to the morning of the 7th, we have what's called a vigil here at the church. It's a time that you can sign up for, where you come in for an hour and you pray at church overnight. And it's in our chapel, and usually there are 3 or 4 other people there with you, and just candles burning. It's a time to be in this beautiful 200-year-old church, to kneel and pray, and just be present with others who are experiencing Holy Week as well. So that's something that's just gorgeous and really meaningful as well. On April 7th, that's Good Friday, we celebrate the actual crucifixion. And so that's a really wonderful, moving service as well. We bring a wooden cross into the church, and we have services around that, simple communion. It's just a powerful service. And we get to April 8th, Saturday, and we have what's called the Great Vigil, and that happens at 9 p.m., right after the sun sets. And that celebrates Jesus' resurrection. So on April 8th at 9 p.m., we start by lighting what's called the new fire, so making a fire in the garden space here, and using that to light our candle and bringing a large candle into the church. It celebrates Jesus rising from the dead and new life. And we bring the candle into the church in procession. People follow in, and one of the deacons sings an ancient hymn called the Exultet, which is about rejoicing, and the text of it is just gorgeous. Rejoice because Jesus is risen from the dead. Rejoice, light has come among us. Rejoice, Holy Church. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So the vigil, the Great Vigil service, happens on April 8th here at the church at 9 p.m. Again, if you haven't been to church and you're looking for something to really get you into the feeling of spirituality and holiness, that's a great service. Church starts out darkened. You just carry this light in with you in this single candle. There's this excited singing, and then eventually the church lights up. It's so gorgeous. And then on Easter Sunday, April 9th, we have our normal 10:30 Easter service. It's celebratory as well. There are lilies in the church, and it's a time to celebrate Jesus being raised from the dead as well. So I hope that you will join us for some or all of that. It's just an absolutely gorgeous time. Holy Week, something Christians have celebrated for at least 16 or 1700 years as we look forward to Jesus' death and to his resurrection as well. I hope you'll join us.